let's just go ahead and find out why I, Kiki Classic Rock, want to talk to Steve Perry so bad. Well, doesn't everybody? Kiki, and if you are new to my channel, welcome. What I like to do is talk about anything and everything classic rock. So if you like all that stuff, if you like to hear people talking about music, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below, as well as the little notification ding dong bell, because every time I upload a video, if you hit the ding dong bell, you're gonna know I uploaded a video, and that's just, I don't know, it's kind of cool. And to every one of you who are already subscribed to my channel, I thank you so much, because it just keeps me coming back, sitting in this chair and on this stool. Yeah. Guys, this is going to be the first video in a whole entire series that I'm going to do about people I want to interview. In this first video of this series, I want to interview... Wait a minute. I can't just go ahead and tell you who I want to interview right off the bat in the intro. But wait a minute. I already I already did tell you in the title who this video is about. So yes, let's just go ahead and find out why I, Kiki Classic Rock, want to talk to Steve Perry so bad. I mean, he is the guy who was with Journey from 1977 through 1987, left, then went back, and he was with Journey from 1995 through 1998, and it is so crazy to think that he was with Journey twice, right? He's the guy. He is the guy. Now, let's be real here. I really think that Steve and I have a connection with each other. Well, no. I have a connection with Steve. Steve doesn't have a connection with me yet. But Steve's dad actually was co-owner of an AM radio station, KNGS, in Hanford, California. And the fact that I have loved radio since I was a little tiny baby girl, I mean, that's small. That's a small baby girl right there. I have loved radio since I can absolutely remember. I loved what was coming out of the radio. I loved the songs that played inside of the radio and came out to me and spoke to me. And I tried to learn the lyrics to absolutely every single song that was on the radio. I love radio so much. I just have to tell you this quick story. I got my first radio job when I was in college. I was at Rhode Island College. It was at WWON AM, just like Steve's dad co-owned an AM radio station. Do you see where I'm going with this right now? I got this radio job, my very first radio job, and how I got it was I picked up the payphone. Do you remember the payphone? Who remembers the payphone? Raise your hand. I totally remember it, and I remember it specifically because when I called the program director, Dave Richards, who we are actually still in contact with today. He's an amazing person. He still owns that radio station that I used to work at. I called him up on the payphone. I said, I would like to work for you because Joe Callahan, who I was going to school with at the time at Rhode Island College because I worked in the film center alongside Joe, and Joe's like, oh my gosh, you should totally call up Dave Richards and you should get yourself a radio job. And I'm like, oh my God, because I love radio so much. So I called up Dave and I said, hi, I would like to work for you. And he goes, you know what? You have a job. So it wasn't even that complicated to get a job at that radio station, but it should have been. And it ended up that I worked at that radio station and I met who I had no idea would be my future husband.
That would be me!
Kick and Al. Yes, because Kick and Al actually worked on the FM side and I was working on the AM side, and you know, our eyes connected, and that was the end of that. So again, that's another special thing that I have with this whole radio relationship. Now, I don't know if Steve, do you think Steve dated people at his dad's radio station? He might have. I mean, that might have been a thing. I don't know, but that's a good question to ask Steve when I eventually interview him, maybe. And think about it. I loved all of those songs that was coming out of that little transistor radio that I used to carry around with me. And then I, of course, graduated to a boombox, as we used to call it. And eventually, Journey songs started coming out of that boombox that I used to listen to night and day. So the Journey songs are coming out of that radio, and then we have Mr. Steve Perry singing songs to us with emotion that we had never really heard before from a man singer. He was singing these pop songs like, where the heck did this guy come from? We must travel back to 1978 and think about the song Wheel in the Sky and how Steve Perry sang and delivered that song to all of us. Now we have to give credit where credit is due. Robert Fleischman was the lead singer of Journey right before Steve Perry came on board, and Robert Fleischman, along with Neil Schon and Diane Valerie, right? They all co-wrote the song Wheel in the Sky, but Steve Perry is the one who delivered it to all of us. Thinking back and hearing this man sing that song in 1978, Wheel in the Sky, with all of that passion, makes you just sit back and ask the question, Mama, who is that boy in the tight white pants and the unbuttoned blouse singing Wheel in the Sky? And then your mama turns to you and says, well, dear, that is Steve Perry. And there it begins. Then we get Feeling This Way and Lights, they get released, and it was as if Steve Perry's voice was not only getting burned into our brains, but most definitely his voice and his emotion was getting completely burned into our hearts. Come on! When Steve sings the lyrics, so you think you're lonely? Well, my friend, I'm lonely too. Oh, it just makes you want to weep uncontrollably, even thinking the fact that Steve Perry has ever been lonely. You just want to give him a big hug and go, Steve, you're not lonely no more? And just think about this, Steve. If you speak to me for at least 30 minutes or however long your publicist allows you to, you won't be lonely. And then in 1979, all bets were completely off when Lovin', Touchin', and Squeezin' came on the radio. Because, dear Lord, the emotion and the passion and everything else that poured out of his body from that song, it was just literally kind of insane. And I completely urge you, if you have not watched the original video of Journey's Lovin', Touchin', Squeezin', please go and watch it. I just want you to ask yourself the question, how did Steve get into those tight black satin pants? And then I want you to ask yourself the next question, how did Steve get out of those tight black satin pants? And I mean, you're probably saying to yourself, really, Kiki, would you ask Steve Perry, the almighty Steve Perry, about him being in tight black satin pants? Because that's not really a professional question. Well, I honestly have no idea when he sits down to talk to me what will come out of this mouth. I can't control it. Sometimes it just kind of happens. I'm not saying that I wouldn't ask him that question. I don't know. So if he just gives me the opportunity to chat with me for just a little bit, we'll see if that question comes out of my mouth. It might be a good question. He might get a kick out of it. I don't know. Now, Steve Perry, of course, was already with Journey for a while. Then Jonathan Cain hops on board, and it's like something just clicked and popped into place after Jonathan joined Journey. And let's face it, Journey was actually a whole lot of sexy in the 70s and early 80s before Jonathan came on board. When the 80s did come in, we have to be thankful that Neil did tone down that afro he had. Because you know, if you were sitting behind Neil with that fro, there was no way you were gonna see the show. There's no way you were seeing anything. Hello, I can't see. Thank you. And also at that point, it's as if Steve Perry went to another level. Like he became an aura, an orb. It always felt like Steve was singing directly to you, even though you know he was probably just skimming over the tops of our heads when he was in concert, and he was trying to make you feel like he was singing directly to you, even though he wasn't, but you felt like he was because you just always had that feeling. But Steve Perry, you felt like he was just connecting with you and you alone. I spit on myself. And that is actually another reason why I want to talk to Steve Perry so badly, because that thing that he brought to the stage and that we can actually still feel in those older Journey videos today, not every performer has that thing. They just don't. That is like an inbred inner soul thing that you just can't go ahead and copy or recreate because it comes from somewhere from within. And Herbie Herbert, Journey's original manager, who actually plopped them right into the stratosphere, he must have seen that same thing from Steve Perry as well, because he put him in that band and they just blew up and blew all of us away. Then the mid-80s happened. It sounds like they all just got burnt out from one another, and the whole Journey enigma as we know it went awry. Steve Smith and Ross Valerie, they were fired, and Randy Jackson, the American Idol guy, he stepped in and was with the band for a couple of years. The group Bad English happened, happened, which was absolutely a great thing because I love their music. So that was definitely a good outcome of them going their separate ways. Also, during that time though, we cannot forget how Steve Perry was part of one of the biggest and fastest selling singles of all time, We Are the World. Talk about being a part of a supergroup. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, and Steve also has all of these other things in his personal life going on, emotions that he's dealing with. I want to know about all of it. I want to hear all of it. And that We Are the World thing, oh my gosh, can you just imagine what it was like for him to be a part of that? Now, he was already huge at that time, but to be in the room, in the presence of all of these amazing, amazing artists, cannot even imagine what was going through his mind at that time. There have been plenty of times when I've had pastry for Steve Perry, but I have to be honest with you, I didn't have any pastry and I didn't go by a bakery. So instead, I'm going to lift up Bret Michaels' hat and I'm going to pull out a banana because Steve Perry really is similar to this banana right here. It's got good form. It's firm. So good form and firm. And this banana knows it's a banana. So Steve Perry knows that he's Steve Perry and bananas are healthy. And I think Steve lives a very healthy lifestyle. So I'm going to peel and eat some of this banana, if not all of this banana, in honor of Steve Perry, just to maybe go a little bit healthy in honor of him. Who could not love a banana? So we'll get into Steve Perry's solo career for just a little bit here. We all know Steve Perry went solo. He did his album Street Talk, gave us songs like Foolish Heart, Strung Out, the ultimate and boyfriend and girlfriend songs, Oh Sherry. And literally, that was the ultimate and boyfriend and girlfriend songs because Oh Sherry was about Steve's then girlfriend, Sherry. What a coinky dink. His girlfriend's name was Sherry. Well, duh, because he wrote the song about Sherry, his girlfriend. I mean, come on, you write a song about your girlfriend. There is just so much to talk about there and the whole solo career, all of that stuff. Like I have so much to ask him that I just want to know. And I think you would want to know about all this stuff too. I want to know about Sherry. I want to know about the solo stuff. I want to know about all of it. I have so many questions in my head. I have so many questions I've already written down. So many things I want to talk to him about. And you know what would be really weird? If he offered me, when we do talk to each other, if he offers me a banana, that'd be a wicked coinky dink. Now, I think you guys get the idea, right? There are tons and tons of rockers and rollers out there that I want to talk to, but I figured I would start putting it out there because everybody talks about visualization, getting all the positive stuff out into the universe. So that's what I'm doing. I'm putting it out into the universe that in this video, I am discussing with you how badly I want to interview Steve Perry. Now, people do say that this stuff works, so I'm gonna close my eyes. I want to interview Steve Perry. Steve Perry wants to talk to me, Kiki Classic Rock. Steve Perry will not call the cops on me if I try to talk to him. Yeah, so I think that'll work. We'll see. So it's all out there. Everything's out in the open right now. And again, we just keep our fingers and our toes crossed and we pray. I totally thank you for hanging out and hearing why I want to interview Mr. Steve Perry. Guys, have a great day, a great night, a great weekend, a great everything. And as always, remember, most importantly, to keep rocking.